Cha-cha.
The U-62 telephone is on the air!
Are the most superhuman person I have ever met today.
All because I'm not napping after brunch. Jeff Gamet is here with us, everybody. Jeff Gamet. Oh, I meant to start differently. I was going to say winner up this week because we're not doing a normal... We're mostly doing a normal week this week. Rob Walsh will be joining us Tuesday through Friday this week. But when I arranged to be on with Rob, I said, I want to talk about AirTag. And Rob was like, well, I don't have AirTag. And you'll hear later this week why he didn't, part with the $29. In the meantime, though, on Twitter and on Instagram, I've been watching our friend Jeff Gamet go through and play with AirTag. And so he joins us today to talk over this little thing with me here. I'm holding one in my hand. I went ahead and bought one.
Turns out I bought one too.
Yeah, well, I knew that, unless you stole one. But really, this is the last thing you want to steal.
Right, because someone's going to be able to find it.
Right. Probably Apple could find it if you stole one and it hadn't even been activated yet, because I don't know if you've heard, but they've got this whole Find My network thing, and it pings off everybody. Plus, now that we've all got our COVID shots, I mean, we're all pretty much just walking beacons, I think is what I've heard.
Yeah, Apple sure did play a long-tail game with this, selling over 1 billion iPhones.
Yeah. Just
so they could build out a network to sell AirTags.
Let me really quickly, I don't remember if I said before we started or after we started, I have to, well, I don't know. I want to address the battery thing, but let's just talk about it first. What's most interesting to me is I assumed when you bought one that you had bought 4 because, I mean, no offense, seems like the kind of guy you are. You would have picked up a bunch of these and gone ahead and this is now scattered across my everything. Then I got in touch with you and you're like, yeah, I'm trying out the AirTag. There's stuff I like, but there's still stuff I like about Tile, so I'm not sure I'm going to make the jump.
Mm-hmm.
I've never owned a Tile in my life. And the only reason that I have the AirTag is because all last week I kept saying, no, I haven't seen one of these. I haven't touched one of these. I don't know. And I thought, for $29, I could stop saying that.
Yeah, small price to pay.
I think so. Talk to me about Tile. Talk to me about AirTag. Talk to me about why you have any of these things. And then what are the differences that you're seeing so far?
All right. Well, because I am who I am, I decided I really needed to think about this logically. Should I stick with Tile or should I just completely transition over to AirTag? Mm-hmm. So I started making a chart where I could do all my feature comparisons and pros and cons. And by the time I got about halfway through it, I'm looking at it and I realized I think I'm going to have to make a video out of this. So that'll come soon. But yeah, I mean, the Tile, of course, predates AirTag by years, multiple years.
Yeah.
And since in the before time, I had to travel a lot. I put Tile trackers on my suitcase, on my laptop bag, and on my my APAP machine. All things that I don't want to lose when I'm traveling.
I'm sorry, what was that third thing?
APAP machine. It's it's the mask you put on at night so that you keep breathing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you don't want to lose that.
No, it would just suck on so many levels. Yeah. So anyhow, I figure if any of those items were to get separated from me when I'm traveling, then I'd have a much higher likelihood of tracking them back down. Mm-hmm. So I've already invested in Tile a lot. And I actually bought all my Tiles and then had to rebuy them later on because the batteries died.
Right.
And the new ones have replaceable batteries, so won't have to do that again. And so I thought, all right, well, let's check out the AirTag and see how it stacks up. And I think I can say for you, since you've never used Tile, if you want to have a tracker beacon sort of thing for your stuff, you've bought an AirTag now. Mm-hmm. Just stick with AirTag, and you'll be fine. I think you'll like it. But for me, do I need to rebuy everything again or not? And where we are right now, I still haven't decided. Apparently, my chart's going to get bigger.
Okay. I got to say, so I have no basis of comparison, but you do. So let me talk really quickly about build quality on AirTag, and then you can talk to me about Tile. I got the not engraved because I wanted it within 24 hours, not 24 days or however long it was going to take. So it looks like a giant Mentos on one side. On the other side, it has that lovely picture that we've all seen with the apple and the made in or designed in California, made in China, whatever.
It reminds me of the back of the old bar of soap style iPods, which had that chrome back on it.
Yeah. The thing that surprised me on this is how sharp the chrome back actually is around the edge. But I said that I bought one AirTag. I actually bought two. One's for me, one's for my special lady friend, and she was putting it on her keychain. But of course, you can't put it on your keychain if you don't have a key ring or a keychain, So I got her one of the Apple ones as well, not the Hermes, because that's insane. But the
that's a bit decadent.
Yeah, the thing that was really interesting to me, though, is when you get the Apple design keychain, first of all, the snap is gorgeous, which doesn't make any sense. That's what she kept saying. She's like, how do they make the snap pretty? But they made the snap pretty.
Right.
But the other thing that's fascinating is it's not just like a pocket that you slide this into. That sharp edge on the chrome thing, and when I say sharp, I don't think you're going to cut yourself, although I haven't tried. It sort of snaps into the leather of the keychain. I mean, everything about the design is Apple design through and through. It's, in that respect, it's gorgeous. Of course, this is not like an Apple Watch, or this is not like a computer or a phone that everybody theoretically is going to see. Talk to me about the design differences or the design, I don't know, je ne sais quoi, between the Tile and the AirTag.
Well, okay. The big thing that everyone keys on right away, and I think rightly so, is that with the Tile, there's already a hole in it. So if you have something you want to attach it to right away, you can. And with AirTag, you can't. For a lot of uses, I don't think that's going to be a big deal because people will be throwing the AirTag into a pocket on a bag.
Right. I don't want people to see the AirTag. That's the thing that's amazing to me. Like, people who are paying $450 for an Hermes tag, I completely don't understand, because my initial thought was, if you put a tag on this, like on your bag, then if somebody's going to steal your bag, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to rip that off, throw it in the trash can, and then go on with your bag. But if you buy the $450 Hermes tag, not only do they get your stuff, they have this wonderful tag that they can resell for maybe $250 to $300.
Right. Yeah. I don't get it either. Okay. And yet here we are. The battery is easier to replace in an AirTag than it is in a Tile. And just to be clear, I'm using Tile Pro, which is a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker than the other Tile. And the reason I've always used Tile Pro is because it has a wider range where you can still pick it up when you're nearby. So it's the one that more closely matches what the AirTag is.
So let me ask you a question. If you were coming to both of these things new, because you are, as you pointed out, you've been a Tile user for years, you're well invested. I mean, like, how is the Tile network versus the Find My thing? Like, would you, if you were coming to it new, would you still be questioning, or would you, as you said to me, well, you bought an AirTag, so just go AirTag?
If I had not already been in the Tile ecosystem, I wouldn't even think twice. It would be AirTag, hands down. And that's because of that wide-ranging network. With Tile, you do get the same feature, but you're relying on other people that have bought Tile and have installed the app on their iPhone or Android phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have to wait for someone that's already a Tile user to get near your lost Tile before You can find it. Same thing with an iPhone or with an AirTag. But you have a lot more people that can serve as a location finder because they don't need to install anything. They don't even need to buy an AirTag. They just need to have an iPhone.
Right. Well, they don't even need to have. They have to have an iPhone? I guess they do for Brother Find My thing, but I know there's the whole, like, if you're an Android user and somebody drops an AirTag on you, it'll play a sound. And I want to say there is a way to access information about the AirTag from an Android device, although I haven't quite looked into exactly how to do that yet.
It's just using NFC. So you just hold the AirTag really close to your phone, and it will pop up a screen that at a minimum has the device serial number.
Okay.
And if you've put your AirTag into lost mode and you have included information on how to be contacted, it will display that as well.
Okay. There are, a couple of other things. So one of the things that you and I were talking about was whether or not you could swallow this. And honestly, the whole thing started off as a joke for me because Officeworks in Australia pulled them from sale because of the removable battery and because they were worried about kids eating the battery. And I jokingly said, it seems to me you should be more worried about kids eating the AirTag. Now, there are two things really quickly. First of all, you said it's too big to do that. I say we're just counting down the days until we hear that somebody has swallowed an AirTag. It's going to happen.
Of course we are.
Okay. Yeah.
We're living in a world where people thought that it was okay to eat Tide Pods. So,
True.
Yes, someone is going to try and swallow an AirTag, and
or they're going to accidentally swallow an AirTag. I'm not saying they're going to try to. And in fact, I think the sharp edge of that chrome thing, which I don't want to make too much of, because like I say, I don't think you can cut yourself with it, but the sharp edge of that I think would make you think twice if you thought, I'm just going to do it and see what happens.
Yeah, it's sharp in the same way the edge of a MacBook Pro is sharp.
Yeah.
It's not going to cut you, but you're
going to feel it.
You can feel it, yeah.
Right, exactly. Other thing I will say, and I guess this is one of those things I have to stop making fun of it now, because there was an article someplace that said the reason that Office Works, and then I think it was JB Hi-Fi, and then Big W, now are the three chains in Australia that have stopped selling these things. Their concern is about the battery for the kids. I got I jokingly, like, because apparently what's going to happen now is Apple is going to change some of the wording on the side of it that's going to talk about the battery. And I said, oh, that's great, because then a 2-year-old will read that and know not to eat the battery.
Brilliant.
And then, then I got a message from an emergency pediatric physician.
Hey, Ken, this is Robert. I wanted to give you some information about the batteries and kids swallowing it. I'm a pediatric intensivist in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and the problem with those batteries and not just the AirTag being swallowed is if those batteries get caught in the esophagus and they're just the battery, the liquid in the esophagus causes a circuit and can actually completely erode away the esophagus. They're considered a medical emergency when kids swallow those, and they have to go immediately to either the operating room or a scope to get them out.
So I guess I kind of have to stop joking about that. But the other thing is, I don't understand. I mean, then we get caught up in the whole, okay, so they're going to put a warning on the side. That doesn't change the way the battery tastes. I mean, that doesn't change whether or not the kid's going to be able to get into it. I haven't even tried to open the AirTag yet, although I guess I could do it while we're talking. How easy is it to get into it?
It's a 2-step process.
Right.
And so you have to push down on the silver part first.
Right.
And then twist counterclockwise.
Okay, counterclockwise. I'm still not going to do it right now.
Here, I'll do it for you real quick.
No, it's okay. Well, no, I have one right here as well, but I don't want I don't want you to reset anything or anything like that. How easy is it?
Oh, no, it won't reset anything.
No, okay.
Doing that.
So, is this something a kid could easily do?
Try it and tell me what you think.
Okay. Well, I think they'd have to know that they wanted to do it because, that was really easy. I don't know. Kids do the darndest things.
Now, imagine doing that if you had kids' hands. Right. So, not as big as your hands.
What the hell's happening?
And when you put the battery back in,
It makes noise at you.
It gives you that, hey, I'm alive sound.
Yeah, cool. All right. That was nice of it. If you had kids' hands, I don't know, but kids, like, how does a kid buy $1,600 worth of Smurf berries? Right?
Because they are magical and can figure out how to do anything. So,
Right.
of course, a little kid could figure out how to get this open.
Yeah.
It's not obvious that this even comes apart.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are enough people on this planet that at some point a little kid is going to get one of these open. Mm-hmm. Just like some kid at some point, I'm sure, has gotten the battery compartment on a tile open.
Yeah.
Or so many other devices out there that have small batteries in them, the little disc type batteries.
Yeah. See, the thing is, common sense does dictate or does indicate to you that this thing has a battery in it, right? I don't think any Australian is buying them, getting them home, and then saying, wait a minute, it's powered? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. At the same time, so that same pediatrician, by the way, that told me of the dangers of swallowing the battery, said that a kid would actually be better off if they had just swallowed the whole AirTag.
Swallowing the AirTag probably wouldn't cause that problem, whereas swallowing the battery would.
I don't think we should try it.
Not being a medical professional, I would agree completely, especially since this is IP67 rated. So the battery is in an essentially a sealed compartment to keep moisture out.
There you go. So really, though, don't try it. I was going to say maybe we should try it, and then I remembered, oh, that's right. The battery can eat at your esophagus, so maybe we shouldn't. But
yeah, and the likelihood that you would just choke on it and have an obstructed airway, is pretty high.
That's
to me that's the bigger concern.
That's not
and
good.
It's the same concern I have with pretty much all the other trackers that are out there, and I've seen some that are a lot smaller than this, like trackers that are down to the size of a nickel or not much bigger than your thumbnail. Super easy to pop in your mouth and swallow.
Where's the Washington Post on that? Because that's the other thing. Although Apple is always going to attract more attention, because of course there was a Washington Post piece last week that was about how easy it is to use this as a stalker tool. And there are a couple things I wanted to ask you really quickly, actually. So when you can't find your tile and you go to play the noise, how is the noise on the tile compared to the noise on the AirTag? Because the Washington Post piece said, well, it's just not loud enough, the AirTag. And so I tried it, and I was actually worried that I had, upset people around me. And it turns out people 2 or 3 rooms away from me were like, hey, what was that, by the way? And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's loud enough then to alert somebody who's being stalked, I would think.
The tile tone, and keep in mind, I'm talking about Tile Pro, because that's what I use.
Right.
That one, it's loud.
Yeah.
It is louder than the AirTag. However, when I have put these at like the far end of my place, and then I go to the far opposite corner, as far away as I can be, so there's like multiple walls and stuff, I hear them both. Okay. And I think part of that's because the AirTag is using a higher pitch than the tile. So even though the tile is louder, I don't feel like I'm having a problem hearing the AirTag at all.
Final thoughts? Any parting suggestions for people? Or do you want to come back in a couple of weeks and say, so I finally made my decision and the decision is? Anything people should consider before they actually go out and plunk down $29 or more?
Well, okay. So I have a couple thoughts. First one is the news articles we're seeing that are hammering on Apple for the battery and for the stalking capability. Mm-hmm. Why haven't they been hammering all the other tracker makers for this? Because like with my tile, I could put that in someone's bag and they would never know. No. There's no alert ever. It's
really?
Just unless they find it. It's just there.
Okay. In fact, let me really quickly. It's Apple. It's Apple, and it's $29. And Apple and $29 practically means anybody who can is going to go get one just because it's Apple and it's $29. right? So I understand being concerned about that because the iPhone is ubiquitous in a way that nothing tied to tile is. The other thing I will say, too, just very fast, I have not seen a single news article that's harping on Apple about the battery. I've just seen the 3 retailers in Australia pull it because of concerns about the battery, which it turns out is probably just a concern about the labeling thing, honestly. The thing's going to sell. The thing's going to be there. It's just a question of, does it have the proper warnings?
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of the coverage we're seeing about that is being presented in a way where maybe they don't understand what it really means, that these retailers aren't offering the product right now. Mm-hmm. So it's coming across like it's a big recall. It's not.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. But yeah, if you would like me to come back in a couple weeks and tell you what my decision was, I am more than happy to do that.
Okay.
Because if I can't decide between these in 2 weeks, then that in and of itself would be an interesting story.